there we go. This is what we've been waiting for a long time. The Blake 7 box set. Again, I unboxed it. It didn't take very long because it's a very cheap bit of packaging. Do not expect Doctor Who packaging for this thing. Even the paper for the little booklet, which is beautifully designed, is cheap. Right, everything about this is cheap. So please, everybody, buy this so we can get a second and third full set, because it's such a wonderful presentation of the series. Right. So the new effects. How would I characterize the new effects? Which is, I think, I think, other than it being in HD, I think the new effects is a pretty darn big draw, because the old effects were. Look, I take Ark in Space, which is about the same time, a few years earlier. I think the original effects are just kind of distracting, right? So the new effects aren't quite as good and as seamless as you would want them to be. But they are done very faithfully to the very faithfully to the original concepts. Right, here, let me show you the new titles, right? Because I think that really shows you the care and attention they went to. Where is it? Like, we'll go to. Come on. My external drives aren't showing up. She cried. Recents, maybe. Is it thinking about? Oh, here he goes. Doink. We go over here. Blake 7. Oh yeah, we got to talk about Swap Shop. Fine. Wokey, what was signed off on that? I don't know. So yeah, again, the new titles. They're pretty much the same, but man, seeing them on a big screen, like a good 50, 60 inch in HD, it's really good. So yeah, all this, I think, is the same. Maybe the planets are different. Okay, this is the bit, right? Because in the original titles, it was just a still of the Liberator zooming into it, right? And it really did look naff. It really looked naff. But it had this coloring, and now they've done it as a 3D rendering. But they kept the coloring the same. It looks perfect. Spaceful. So, generally speaking, here, let's see if we can find some shots of the London, which is now, and I find like the space shots. Oh, here we go. Is that it's taking off? Hang on.
Time to start 5.
Yeah, okay. That was actually one of the better shots. Oh yeah, they took off from the end of the first episode. So yeah, just let's put it in context and show the original version. Here we go. Spaceful original. Yeah, let's just watch how they liberate this one. Oh, it's a little bit before this, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, God bless it. God bless it. It's just not very good. Okay, it's just not very good. Wow, wow. Don't be wrong. It's fine for the time, but it looks a bit airfix, right? This looks a bit better, I think. They have both versions, but I really prefer the new effects. The bit where they get to Liberator, which is that in this episode or is that the next one? Oh yeah, yeah. And again, the renderings of Liberator are gorgeous, right? They're absolutely wonderful. This they didn't redo though, which I thought was really bizarre. This like mind parasite thing that killed everybody there, right? This thing. I'm gonna put a bit of CGI over that. Make it like a pulsating brain thing. Because that's a bit. I mean, I don't understand why do that and not do it. It's strange to me, right? On the making of, they keep talking about how hard it was to walk up and down that canvas, and it does look it, doesn't it? Yeah, and then I do like this guy. The I can't remember his name. See, at the beginning, he's just kind of like a bored, like
Time to start 5.
Yeah, it's like no, and then 20 minutes later, he's like murdering and threatening to rape Jenna. So I was like, yeah, there was a bit of a. Oh, here we go. Here's another effect shot. Yeah, so this is when he gets. So let's see what that's like in the original one. 5007. I like how Blake gets shot in the shoulder and just like rubs his shoulder and it gets better. I don't know. No, I prefer the new effects by a hair, right? I will say by a whisker. Now, also on this first disc, which I haven't finished watching yet, is Liberation. I'll pull up, which is the main documentary. And in the booklet, it says you have Sally Kinnett and Jan Chapel. So I thought it was just them, right? I didn't know it was the main documentary, and it's very good though. But here, it opens up like, and you can tell it's such a BBC like Doctor Who collection Blu-ray, right? So they have the original model Liberator, and it looks like shit. Like, why doesn't somebody restore it? I mean, look at it. Just like, why can't somebody restore that? I'm kind of a little bit mortified. Like, who owns that? Like, get somebody to restore it. It's like, it's really kind of tragic. That's what it looks like.
Look at it. Now, this is the original. God almighty, that's amazing. 45 years.
Could do with a little repaint.
Yes, it could. Yes, it could. So they have a bit of a chin wag. They bring in other people. They talk about how the series was made, and it's good, right? It's one of the better making of documentaries. But then they go by episode. So when they start doing that, first you get through the characters and the design. When they start going episode by episode. So I stopped at that point, and I'm going to watch the next section. As I watch it. God Archer says, Tzvi Lebetkin, the nerve father showed this ad to his students. I must be talking about the Jaguar ad, right? So yeah, I would say a superior making of documentary, right? It's how long is it? Hour and a half long. So I would say it's very in-depth. What else is on that first disc? Oh, this. Okay. Freaked me out. This totally freaked me out. They have a clip from the swap shop. And when they said the number 01-801-8055, it just clicked in my head. If you're not from England, you don't understand. Saturday mornings was swap shop, and they will keep saying to phone 01-811-8055. Swap Shop was this like magazine show for like 3 hours on Saturday mornings, and it was revolutionary of its time. And then the ITV had its own version called Tiswas, which was actually a lot better. Right, I hate to say it, but here, let's throw a bit of that up. This was on January 7th, 1978. Okay, yeah, new show coming up, Blake 7.
From
Matt
Blake
Irvin.
7. Matt Irvin, welcome to the programme once again.
Taking home, morning.
You're from the Visual Effects
Department, yes.
Right.
Matt Irvin's awesome. I love seeing him in all the like. Matt Irvin was a real mainstay of my childhood. I used to love these things where he sort of showed the models that he made and talked about how to make them. But there's a bit where they would call him. And I was like, oh my God, I remember this number. Man, it looks better then, didn't it, Liberator? Somebody give it to Matt Irvin to fix. What's wrong with you people? Where is it? Or it might have been something on a... Oh, you know what? It must have been an extra on the... there it is. 01811-8055. Here we go. That's in Noel Evans up here.
The Ring on 01811-8055. One of the BBC's top experts here, Matt, will be happy to talk to you about signal boxes for your railway or any form of models that you're working on. If you want to know anything about the world of models...
So yeah, that is a fun extra. I did enjoy that. You got these weird character introductions. I think they're from the DVDs, right? And I was like, I didn't really see the point. There's a couple of fun bits where you have Sally Cavett talking about the Jenna and David, what's his name, who played Gan, talking about Gan, David Jackson. And I think is that everything on the... That's pretty much it. And then you got the continuity announcements, right? And that's everything on that disc. So let's, I've been doing a deep dive review in watching all of Blake 7. I was watching season 4, but now this came out. I moved over there. So I was a bit reticent to start watching this one because I like the tone of the full season. This is a very different animal. Then from listening to people's reaction to this, they reminded me this entire series was written by Terry Nation, right? And it's very much his creative vision, right? It's very very, very bizarrely his creative vision. And it's interesting. So Terry Nation got to do what I wish that Robert Holmes and Philip Hinchcliffe got to do. Which is essentially write an adult drama. And boy, did he like it being adult. It was surprisingly dark a lot, because nobody was really paying attention, right? But this was Terry Nation kind of being let off the leash of the the family entertainment remit of Doctor Who. Yeah, still with a fun penchant for science fiction. So it starts off. It's got a really slow burn start. So honestly, it takes, I would say, 3 episodes to get the premise going, to get to the starting point, and then I think Callie comes in episode 4. Right? It's not till halfway through the season that everything's all set up. Right? So. It's how would I describe it? Yeah, a slow burn, right? A very slow burn, and it makes it a much more interesting viewing. So it's got a feel of I would say more of a classic sci-fi novel, right? And they do like riff of classic sci-fi novels like Soma, Soma's from what's the name, Brave New World. But it's again. It's a totally different animal it starts off with, where, the Federation isn't all evil. It's just like, people are living their lives normally. So let's pull up some stills. I'll pull up the episode and I'll drag through it, and we'll see. I can't even think if there's any new effects on the first episode. I really don't see there was any massive need to be. The way back, and again, this was really oblique. The way back, where you only really find out what it's talking about. It's only obliquely at the end of the episode, which it kind of builds to. I do like that. So it starts off, and you can see it's a very civil society, mind you. 1978. Compare it to London in 2015. Probably the Federation surveilled their society far less, right? I would say. It's so again, subtle like totalitarian control, but people are walking around and living their lives, and everything's kind of normal, right? Blake is being taken on a clandestine journey, and he's a kind of a straight-laced citizen. So he's being dipped into this world, and they tell they're going to hear something about his family, and then they take him to go outside the dome. He's like, "That's illegal. You can't do that." I said, "Well, you wait here if you don't want to know about your family." Fine. So he off he goes. And is clearly very freaked out by the whole thing, right? He's like not comfortable with any of this. And he goes to looks like some kind of underground parking lot. And he meets this American bloke who I kind of recognize. He looks like he was famous and in other stuff, right? And it's Blake, you're actually a political dissident, and they wiped your brain and they put you back into regular society. But now he wants you to help fight the good fight, right? And there's a little subplot with this blonde bloke who shows up. You think he's a bad guy, but no, he's really good. Oh, he's going to be bad. This is a very bleak outlook on the world. And I think they just enjoy being bleak, right? It's a very, like, I don't know, wartime espionage thriller sort of vibe. Right, and he's like, no, you're really Blake. And then he's like, do you remember like having your brain wiped? And apparently not. And man, Gareth Roberts runs weird at this. Look at this.
And when they'd finished, they put you up and you confessed.
Like his little hands are flapping around. So he's like, well, that's weird. He goes off to have a bit of a think. And then all the Federation guards show up. And the guy's like, no, just be... Again, this is January 6th, right? Essentially, we're watching January 6th. And they turn up and say, look, everybody be cool.
Let's not resort to violence. We claim our rights as citizens.
You're outside the dome, mate. I can see why you don't have any rights anymore.
And demand to be treated as civil prisoners.
Yeah, I do like the way they set this up as like, yeah, no. Right, so here's my question. Is the Federation just about teetering into totalitarianism now? Kind of like, England is, right? Is the Federation kind of like where the Starmer government is? Where people are arrested for memes and stuff, and then, but they haven't started like, they haven't started shooting dissidents yet. But okay. So that's kind of the vibe I get, right? And then Blake's like, well, Oprah's dead. Sneaks back home. And again, this is a very bizarre psychological thriller where he's on trial now for going outside the city, which has now been changed to he's a pedophile, right? Again, this is Terry Nathan going, I'm gonna write really weird adult stuff now, and this goes up pretty much the entire as I'm into the first season, right? And Chris Boucher's clearly into it too. So they're trying to like crack it. I get this again, these interrogation sort of scenes.
Sometimes just a little, sometimes completely.
And it's great performances. Right, but it's not the space opera that you expect, right? It's again this weird political psychological drama, right? And I do like the this is after being arrested. So now we have like the deep state sitting around trying to decide what to do with him, and she's like, let's put her on trial for pedophilia, right? And you can see that a man. So little has changed.
Sentenced. But I'd like to do a feasibility check. Doctor, would you come with me, please?
It's just so incredibly dumb. And this guy bloke turns out to be a traitor while Gareth Thomas is losing his marbles. So then it goes into a courtroom drama. You get this kind of earnest defender for Blake. And it's just the story's twisting in all these different ways. None of the way that you expect, right? It's always like now it's much more in the sort of a weird traditional drama. It's like the police have showed up and they said you've the police have showed up and said that you put an offensive tweet on, and you're about to be sent to Cygnus Alpha for it, right? And so now you got like your public defender working out how to try and get you off. He said, "Look, I was a witness to a massacre. If you can find evidence of it, I think that we might be in luck." Again, very, 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 very traditional, like sci-fi novel-esque science fiction, right? Which I find very, very interesting. I do like the way they do that. Again, it's very it feels very like Fahrenheit 451, right? Dystopian, but kind of similar to those systems. Clearly, very much based on it. And amazingly, he's guilty. And he's taken to the holding cell to go on the shuttle Cygnus Alpha. Starts meeting the other cast, meets Villa. Michael McKinnon kind of like leans into the role straight away, and standing in there as Jenna. Holy cow, is she hot. I'm 3 episodes in, and she is smoking the way through. I mean, look at it. She looks fantastic, right? Meanwhile, you get this really interesting drama with his defender trying to find out the truth, and you get a bit of of their personal life. So he's in bed. Again, this bit's great as well. It's like what Britain is right now, where people still live their lives, but you're under fashion control. So I love this one bit where they go and visit the guy in records to see if they can prove it.
The public records computer.
To look for what?
I don't know.
Give me 1 minute and I'll come with you.
I thought they were going to come together. Yeah, I love this bit. Oh man, this is so funny. All right, amazing. That's amazing how well that worked. Of course, nowadays nobody will be using headphones, or they'll just be looking at their phone. So they find some proof. I can't remember what it was. They find some proof, and he goes off to jail. So don't worry, I won't let them take off, right? And there's you'll be lucky. So they're like, so now I think his public defender's being trailed as well as he goes off to try and find the truth and rescue them. So yeah, he goes out of the dome, and he finds the apparently all the bodies are still there, right? Here, this shot the London. This was one of the early ones, so this was didn't really fill me with much hope. And this camera is the weirdest camera ever. Yeah, it just looks like it needs a bit more texture on it. What can you do? And so they got the proof, right? They're off to save Blake, and they're going to be killed, right? Blake doesn't listen to the order, so he doesn't even get to see Earth as he takes off. He turn around, and he's in confinement, which means you got the traitor finds them, and they're both dead, right? And that they built up a little bit of character, with just a little bit of dialogue, maybe a minute or two in their private life. It makes it so much more of a chilling death, right? Generally speaking, excellent, right? Excellent. And he's watching Earth go away. See, I can't tell if I like these new space scenes or for the original ones.
Take a long look. That's the last you'll ever see of it.
No, I'm coming back.
Yes, and that is the way back, apparently. The rest of the show is about him finding the way back, which he never does, apparently. I really think if a way to continue Blake, I've thought a couple of ways to continue Blake's over now everybody's dead. One way would be to set it 100 years later and have the exact same story, right? People being transported to a prison ship, they encounter the Liberator, and that way you get something a little bit meta going on. Yeah, I would like. Yeah, I would like if they found a like cryotubes that had like Michael Keating in it and whoever's still alive, right? Yeah, I think that will work quite nicely. Anyway, so this again dovetails directly into episode 2, right? The later Blake 7 not like this at all. So now we're in Spacefall. And again, it's not the story you're expecting, right? Weirdly, I mean, like, because again, it's you know, it's like starting Star Trek with them building the Enterprise. Well, I guess they did that with the JJ movie, right? Yeah, okay, fine. This is Star Trek is essentially doing what Blake 7 did. The JJ was it 2009 Star Trek? Essentially doing what these first 3 episodes of Blake 7 are doing. So yeah, here we go. We're flying out. Well, is this the original version? That looks like that doesn't look like special edition space in the background. Maybe they didn't get it. So yeah, the crew of the London again. On one hand, they're very, very pedestrian. On the other hand, as the episode goes on, they're like brutal killers, right? Peter Richards and Chris Gimlin did a remake. Everyone will be sex offenders working for the Federation. Well, I guess so, right? Jonathan Cook's just rumbled the rabbi. Well, you know, I did feel that in my lines, right? Good for you. But again, I do like this is very standard Doctor Who spaceship crew. Like this could be from Invisible Enemy, right? And they'll just be fine. It's just later when they're talking about you know, demanding sexual favors from Jenna, which, listen, if you can make the demand, I would, right? I certainly would. Where, you know, what was this chat up line for her? We don't have a room for female prisoners, but maybe I can make some accommodation. Hang on. Is this it? So it's like an 8-month voyage. Yeah, this is it, I think. Oh, maybe I just missed it. All right. It's quite, here it is. It's quite an interesting treatise about how people with power just become shitty instantly.
Your head. Come with me.
Here goes.
What's your name?
Jenna Stanis.
I wonder if this was, again, in Terry Nation's mind, does this work, right? But again, he's just enjoying being old. Like not being figured. Ethan Buckheim is here. How you doing, Ethan? Thank you for joining us.
Unfortunately, Jenna, there are no special facilities for female prisoners.
Except in my knickers.
But if you should find things difficult, I might be able to arrange something more comfortable.
That's very considerate of you.
So again, they do the same thing here that obviously David did with 73 yards. But the difference is in 73 yards, this was the whole point of the story. This is a throwaway little bit.
Why make it hard on yourself?
Well, I'm already hard for you, baby.
Why, indeed.
There you go. So now he's transformed from that moment. He transforms from being like pencil pushing pilot to sadistic Nazi, right? So you start to fill out the characters. You're introduced to Avon. Oh man, Paul Dara is fantastic from the first moment. It's weird that he was not in the first episode. I think the only person in every episode of Blake 7 was Michael Keating, wasn't it? I believe so. So, he got this great bit of dialogue talking about how he likes computers to start off. And, you know, it's with these, like, little notes, right? These broad, with these little touches of, like, character. They paint, you know, with these little markings. Like you get a fully formed character very, very quickly. Man, I guess today the only thing they can do is he's trans, he's gay. He's like no, what's he like? Right? I know what Avon's like. I know his energy is very different to Blake, right? I know Villa's energy, right? Like, a bit of a rogue, but probably okay, right? A little bit dangerous because he's being sent to a penal colony and Cygnus Alpha, right? That's never a good sign that you're a calm and collected guy, right? But yeah, no. So they can't. They do strike up this war pretty early on, and Blake's like, "Oh, we will escape." Right? He's being very Blakey. Wonder what the original effect was like over here. Let's look at the original effect. Space, because I bet like that. I've been impressed now how the original effects are really quite good. Yeah, we got Space War. 10 minutes in or so. Hang on. Oh, yeah, so the new effects are better.
Taken the ship, we'll need a pilot.
Yeah, so they make their plans. Okay, the new effects are better over here. And again, how many did we do? This might be months later. Right, and again, the balance of the counterbalance of energy between Blake and Avon, between Paul Darrow and Gareth Thomas. One's a very insular performance, while one's very extroverted. It's interesting how it kind of like inverts. So yeah, they keep like testing out their environment. And I remember this when I was a kid watching this. How they would go down. Was it go inside the walls? And I remember, as a kid being terrified where somebody gets caught. Yeah, but this bloke gets caught inside the walls, and these debris splatters at it. At the same time, I think there's a big space battle going on, which is what they're being rocked by, which is obviously something to do with it. Yeah, I remember it's from 1978. I remember this clearly. And they got that their phone comes in a second, and it's a really dark death, isn't it? There you go. Yeah, you brown bread, mate. You're gonna die. But again, this is Blake 7. I guess that's why we liked it so much, because it's like nobody noticed how dark it was because it was for kids. And it really wasn't for kids. It was like a really dark sci-fi, like kind of like a World War II resistance show. So anyway, they break into, they get Avon into the computer center. They have a little revolution, but it doesn't last long, right? Evil sadistic guy says, "Let me give you permission to do whatever I want. I'll end this." Eventually, again, he does a very like stereotypical Nazi thing of lining everybody up, saying, "I'm going to kill one every 30 seconds," right? And Blake, of course, crumbles, right? He like gives up everything, and they get captured. And I think we get one of the first Avon wonderful put downs here. This is it. 1 second.
So you should. What a fiasco. You could take over the ship, you said, if I did my bit. Well, I did my bit, and what happened? Your troops bumble around looking for someone to surrender to, and when they've succeeded, you follow suit.
Touche. It's all like, yes. Didn't go down too well, right? It certainly did not go down too well. But I do like his assessment of it. I think he's pretty much spot on, isn't he? What complete and utter bloody failures. There we go. So then, as luck would have it, they find a massive ship, the Liberator.
Where could it have come from?
I've never seen.
1 second. Do we get the first beauty pass of it?
We have power back, sir.
About time.
Right, it was this big space battle going on. They were being rocked in it, which is why they lost power, and they had they were able to do that little rebellion.
All functions and all systems. They're phasing them in now.
Have we got scan yet?
Not yet.
Get me a blind reading on that echo.
Oh, come on, let's see it.
Where could it have come from?
Oh, come on. Did I just miss it again?
Got the scan back.
Right, get me a picture.
And yeah, those 3D renders are gorgeous. Right? Every time you have Liberator on screen, it is gorgeous. And they're like, we're going to make a freaking fortune. So we say, you know what we're going to do? First, we're going to get people in some of those disposable white onesie things, and we're going to put a pot of rice on their head and send them across this weird wibbly wobbly bridge, right? And they kept talking about how much they hated this bridge. You would like. They had this whole thing, it was inflatable, and they had to walk down the center. And yeah, look, they very nearly fell over a lot of times, which I kind of like. I think it adds to the realism. So they go over and they go, oh, we're here. And I go, oh my God. And they vanish, right? And then I think they send another guy over, same thing happening. And they said, okay, what about the prisoners? And there you go. So this is how they end up over there. And one guy's screaming. So they go over, and they, what about weapons? I'll throw it in the airlock when you're out, which I thought was a good idea. And they get into Liberate again. I don't know why they didn't do this effect a bit better. Right? This cries out for a bit of CGI over it, right? Like a pulsating brain. What's it? Not lizard, entity. What's the word I'm looking for? Monster. I mean, this really, really, really could have used a bit of CGI, right? And it like gets inside, and again, it gets inside the brain in a really dark, sadistic way, right? So Jenna sees her mother apparently being beaten and implied raped as well, right? And Terrence sees his brother being tortured. Now, Blake's able to survive this because he's had his memory erased, right, once already. And so this is going to unlock all the rest of his memories, I think. So that's why he's able to see through the alien thing, and he pushes them back and he kills them. He pushes them back as they go to it because it's going to kill them, and then he shoots them. Yeah, again, that really needed a new CG shot. I'm sorry. Right? So they go, please stand by, everything's fine. I said, oh, everything's fine. They survive, and he works out he's got to get over there ASAP, right? And they're trying to work out how to move the ship. And the bad guys come up, and he comes across the bridge. He sees Blake. He shoots him in the shoulder, but there's no wound. He just it's just sore. Right? He has his gun set to sore, right? And he has a fantastic death as they fly off, right? And pull out of the. There you go. It really, because I remember it so clearly from how many years ago? 78, 88, 98, 2008, 2018 to 2024. That's what 46 years, man. And I remember watching it clearly as a kid. And I wanted to discuss it. Yeah, that FX shot's better. And off they go to seeing the South and they what they move is. Oh, look at that! Oh, that's just really gorgeous. All right, and again we go into six Cygnus Alpha yet, but I think I'll wait. I'll do Cygnus Alpha and Time Squad in a review together, right? But yeah, I am really digging. The first season now, because it's a very much the creative expression of one man, and I do like that, right? I do like it when they do things like that. Now there's a lot of crossover. That's what I was looking for. A lot of crossover between Doctor and Blake. So let's pull this up. We're going to do pocket mags. There was a little article about in this month's Doctor Who magazine, man, which is it's so depressing reading Doctor Who magazine when you read it from 10 years ago when it was so much better. Oy vey. Where is it? Continue from this page. We go doink. There we go. Just thinking about it. There you go. Doink. Share screen. Seek, locate, exterminate. I mean, again, this was, I guess, riffing that Terry Nation really wanted the aliens to be the Daleks, which I think would have been a terrible idea, right? Unless he wanted to make the Daleks like really dark and evil. Blake 7 Daleks would be like doing some weird psychosexual experiments or like, it's like, yeah, some dark evil shit. Again, this was Terry Nathan just letting his id out quite a bit. Blake 7 there, BBC's other sci-fi saga, heads to Blu-ray. Was it sister show Doctor Who Arrival? John the Hell explains intriguing links between the... I don't think it was Arrival. I think they complemented each other. Definitely had a very different vibe. So in 1975, Terry Nathan successfully pitched Blake 7 to head of drama. Yeah, what do you call it? Dirty Dozen in Space. And they got a 13-episode order. Right, unfortunately, with the budget of Softly Tarsals. So Graham, when he took over as producer of Doctor Who, replacing Philip Hinchcliffe, who'd faced criticism for the show's growing. Like, why didn't they give it to Hinchcliffe to? I forgot it was like right then to produce. It would have been much better. Man, could you imagine with a... Well, I love the Chris Boucher script editing. Right, he's really good at it. I know. Oh, sorry, I just pop my ears. Where are we up to? Fine. The Hinchcliffe-Williams handover began towards the end of the 14th season, during which time he met with two prolific writers, Michael E. Bright and David Maloney. However, Maloney, Hinchcliffe's go-to director for most ambitious Doctor Who stories, was offered the producer role on Blake 7. Yeah, right. While location performance on Talon's Way to Yang. Impressed by Maloney's work on Jensen of the Daleks Nation, recommended him job to Ronnie Mars. Well, that's good. Friends in high places. Okay, but it's kind of like, hasn't really got to the point of the article yet. No, I guess. Yeah, there's a connection between Doctor Who and Blake 7. Maloney eagerly anticipated making him unavailable future Doctor Who work. Oh, what a... I mean, honestly, you compare Invasion of Time to Deadly Assassin, and you go, oh, please bring back Hinchcliffe and Holmes, right? I mean, Deadly Assassin is essentially a reworking of the Manchurian Candidate. I wonder what they would have done for a follow-up. Like, what our big movies were? All the President's Men? I don't know. When he was next approached Bryant, who was completing post-production on Robots of Death. However, Bryant was enticed by Maloney's vision of a bold new sci-fi space adventure Blake 7, declined Williams' offer to return to Doctor Who. So they pilfered basically everybody. Reflecting on the decision of Doctor Who magazine in 96, Bryant says, Graham asked me twice to come back and got quite cross at me. He told me that I owed it to the series. That was true. I learned that my whole training on Doctor Who. But so yeah, this story is about them pilfering talent. Well, that's the way the BBC work back then, I guess. And you know who really could really work it well? John Nathan Turner. Oh man, his fall from grace is really sad. Man also enlisted Penance Roberts, Douglas Campfield, recognizing the value of the director. We're familiar with. Okay, we haven't got to really many connections yet. That's a great episode with Baben. Oh, I loved it. Original Enemy. Fine. Did you come and David Weir's unusable script for the season finale, forced Williams to write a new script? Yeah, Invasion of Time. It was like the Killer Cats or sort of Genghis thing. It's one of the ones that's never been made into by Big Finish, which I'm kind of surprised about. Williams and I working on season 16 around the same time with Maloney and Chris Boucher. We're planning a second series of Blake 7, which I know, which each series had its own vibe. I love the second series, right? It's got some great stuff. It's got Gambit in it. Oh, I love Gambit, right? Bit of deep Roy chess action, right? That's fantastic. This is I'm a little bit disappointed in this article. I will be frank. Continue to overlap resources for the two programs. Tom Baker once told Blake Seven on Michael Keating, the only thing in Doctor in Blake 7 is I'm not in Blake 7. No, Blake 7 is really dark. Right? Yeah. Doctor Who never had to deal with being framed for paedophilia. This light-out competition was fueled by the fact that two shows were often recorded simultaneously at BBC 7. That's going to be wild. For example, Paracol in 78 was made at the same point as Pressure Point. That's a good episode. Being recorded in Studio One. Doctor Who set will even feature various panels of dressing from previous Blake 7. Or Blake 7, Finley got a picture of it there, of a sea devil as Dorian's, I don't know, receptacle for the ickiness. This was the idea from Tom Baker and Gareth Thomas, who played Blake, for a self-aware crossover in which the Doctor would... They should have done that as a Christmas... as a Christmas ident, right? There's you have a start with a space station spinning, and you have Blake, and you have the Doctor standing by a Christmas tree, or they walk out to in the space station. Hello Blake, hello Rog, hello Doctor, hello Rog. Merry Christmas. Wouldn't that be a great ident? Oh. Why isn't IA good enough to make that for AI good enough to make that for us now? Oh, that would be such a great ident. Oh, it's killing me. Either Blake 7 or Doctor which fine. I think my idea was better. Do it as a Christmas ident rather than having a meet in Blake 7 or Doctor Who, which is a silly idea. There was a simple scene where they pass each other in the corridor. Morning, Blake. Morning, Doctor. And proposal rejected by BBC executive in order to maintain the show's distinct identities. But Terry Nathan had ambitious plan for a crossover that would apparently intertwine the series, which, again, I just think this was a duffer of an idea. I really do, right? I really, really do. Nathan wants to include the second series of Blake 7 with a dramatic twist. Blake would discover Star One, the Federation's top secret control complex, only to find it threatened by a massive alien force intent on annexing the Federation planets for their own vast empire. The aliens poised to annihilate all life on all these worlds. Blake would ultimately team up with the Federation to combat this formidable threat. In a bold move, Nation considered introducing the Daleks as the alien menace. It just sounds like such a bad idea, right? It's just like, it didn't make sense even then. The huge success of Daleks merchandise in the 1960s and made Nathan a wealthy man, and he was acutely aware of the spin-off. Oh yeah, he wanted more Dalek stuff. Okay. Look, mate, I can't believe they never got that Dalek series going, right? That they always wanted to. Blake, the other was one of the driving forces behind the picture of Blake 7 was decided to create another science fiction series with strong merchandise potential. That's, I guess, why we got Corgi Liberator straight away. Felt like it was straight away anyway. Nathan hopes that some of his new creation, well, maybe not have your main character be framed from Peter fucking Philia if you wanted to be a bit mainstream. I don't know. So Decimers, the Mutoids, or the Federation security robot, they were awful, right? The Federation is awful. It's awful. Stop. It's awful. We'll catch the public's imagination. The Federation security robot, really? It's awful. Can I find a picture of it? Federation security robot. Images. Yeah, man. No one's buying a toy of this. It's epically shit. Like it's epically shit. Oh look, the arms go up a little bit. Yeah. I'm assuming CGI replaces that. God, I hope so. I do hope so. And where is this? No one's like, why would you think anybody would buy that? I don't know. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have screwed over John Cusack. Maybe he would have designed it better for you. Right? So it would capture him into the Dalek Zone. However, the first series you needed little merchandise, aside from a toy liberator and a ping pong ball firing neutron space rifle. I remember that too. Given the disappointing lack of commercial success, it's perhaps unsurprising Nathan considered bringing back his favorite creations. I can hear that, but man, it's a real hack idea. With the Doctor Who production team seemingly uninterested in reviving the Daleks, Nathan saw an opportunity to integrate them into Blake 7. And the press launch of the first series, Nathan was asked by Daily Mirror, Jack Bell if there could be a role for the Daleks in Blake 7, and said, if there's a second season, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I would. Like, they would have to come from a different reality then, wouldn't they? All right. Doctor Who fan Mark Sinclair visited Nathan in 78, having known the Nathan family for years. Sinclair enjoyed tea and a long chat, during which the writer revealed he was considering bringing the Daleks into Blake 7. He was asked if he thought it was a good idea, and Sinclair said he was concerned the crossover might not work. It really wouldn't, but I told him the fans would love it. I don't think they would, actually. Excited by Nathan's revelation, Sinclair shared the news with his fellow Doctor Who and Blake 7 enthusiast, John Kevin Davis, who went on to make the very good directors. A short time later, Davis introduced Douglas Adams, who recently taken over from Anthony Reid, the script editor on Doctor Who. This started marked a long-lasting friendship between Davis and Adams, leading to future collaborations during the time Davis also met Graham Williams. Stupidly, I told Douglas Adams and Graham Williams that Terry Nation was thinking of putting the Daleks into Blake 7. They were naturally fascinated and quite a bit alarmed by the idea. I felt a bit uncomfortable telling them a few weeks later. They commissioned Terry to write the story Destiny of the Daleks. Well, yeah, I'm glad that, because they haven't done the Daleks for a while. And I'm glad they did, right? I'm glad they did do Destiny of the Daleks, right? It was, I do like it. I mean, it's not a patch on Genesis, but it's fun. And I love the Movellans. Despite concerns that overexposure had diminished their impact, the Dalek remained an undeniably popular, so Williams and Adams were determined not to lose their iconic villains to Blake 7. When Nathan suggested incorporating the Daleks into the cliffhanger ending of the second season, Maloney and Chris Batter both strongly opposed the idea. Yes, thank God. Which may have influenced Nathan's willingness to allow the Daleks to return to Doctor Who. Yeah, well, money's money, baby. Kevin believes that Nathan had been determined to have the Daleks be in Blake 7. He could have made it happen. I don't know if David Maloney or Chris Batch had the power to overrule Terry if they really insisted, he suggested. If the head of drama had liked the idea to, merely from a boosting rating point of view, the Daleks would have become part of the fabric of Blake 7. I fear that I may have inadvertently prevented that from happening. Good. And I would love to see that. I really wouldn't, mate. Though Daleks never confronted Blake and his crew, the near miss highlights the close relationship between Doctor Who and Blake. So this has been a shit article. Oh, man. This has been... Okay, so yeah, talk about crossover time. I just reviewed last week, was it Assassin, which had Richard Hundell on Blake 7, First Doctor. Jacqueline Pierce going from Servalan to Cassini. Paul Darrow. Right. So Frontios, they use the same hats, same helmets as Blake 7. I just thought they'd had a similar process because they knew how to do it. And look at that. So it's Destiny of the Daleks and Blake 7. I filming exactly the same spot. Yeah, man. The Colin Baker when it was young and svelte. All right. So is this the same set they use? I don't know. But yeah. Listen, there is a long, noble tradition of crossover between Blake 7 and Doctor Who. Yeah, absolutely. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.
Yeah!